Welcome one more time with another series of a podcast on Passion Pursuit. And today we have someone very special. But before that, I'm sure, like me, uh, the buzzword today is about manifestation, law of attraction, law of assumption. And therefore, does manifestation really work? Can you manifest everything that you want in life? Can every desire can be manifested? And that exactly is the question that we're going to address or we're going to discuss on this. And today it's a pleasure because I have my daughter Brinda on this podcast with me. And Brinda has been manifesting every single thing in her life from the age of 13 years onward. She got introduced to this book Secret, and I've seen her not only manifesting but also helping lots and lots of people live a much, much more better life by unblocking their fears and their anxieties and really dig deep with them. Brinda is a master's degree holder from Columbia University, so that way she's an alumni of Columbia. She lives in New York City, and she is brilliant, and she is my daughter. Brinda, welcome on this podcast.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. I'm super excited to be here. And I also really love the name of your podcast, Passion Pursuits, because I think it's so important to give people the space to talk about things that they're really passionate about. Sometimes it might align exactly with the work that they do, sometimes it might not be. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me on
Okay,
here.
let's straight away jump into the topic. Okay,
Yeah.
manifestation.
Yeah.
Can you simplify what really manifestation? What? How does one manifest? That's a simple question, right?
Yeah, sure. Manifestation, as you said, has now become a buzzword. It really has entered pop culture in a certain sense as well. But if I was to think about it very simply, how does one actually manifest? There are two components to it. First one being through subconscious breakthroughs, and second one being through nervous system regulation. Those are the two things that you need to understand.
So when we say subconsciousness, what does it mean? I mean, just simplify, no? Because otherwise everybody knows subconscious, conscious. We have been talking about it. Can you just simplify it? When we say subconscious means what?
Our subconscious can be understood as the operating system that runs beneath our conscious awareness. It is what holds our beliefs, our emotions, our behavioral patterns are essentially manifested as a result of what our subconscious is holding on to. There is a very popular quote by Carl Jung that it goes something like, till you make your unconscious conscious, it will govern your life and you will call it fate. So people believe that life happens to them without sometimes realizing that we really are creating our external reality at every point. Based on what we internally have believed, right? And our subconscious mind actually more or less is formed by the age of 7. And all of our experiences by the age of 7, all the experiences that we've had, in our environment, with our family, of course, at that young of an age, has already formed a majority of our subconscious. While, of course, as we continue to live life and our lived experiences, it continues to be formed as well.
Yeah, I understand. It's the kind of upbringing that you had,
Yeah.
is the kind of books that you read, the company that you kept with you, the friend that you had in life, your first job, people that impacted you, the role models around it.
Right.
So,
right.
are you trying to say when everything that is happening in our life is getting manifested because of the subconscious mind that we live with?
100%. It really does. Of course, I do want to preface this by saying that everyone is born into a different life of different level of privilege, right? So I don't want to take that away. Someone who might be born into a very, say, like a wealthier family or a family which, stays like regulated and happy, they might find it easier to manifest things eventually, might be, I want to preface that. But doesn't mean that someone who's born into difficult circumstances cannot manifest things eventually. But it's very important to not put all of the blame onto ourselves also, and understand that the circumstances that we are born into has a role to play in it, right? But the point is that when someone is not able to manifest, it doesn't mean that they don't want to, or they don't want it badly enough, right? People may be working really hard towards something but not be getting results. Why does that happen? It happens because subconsciously, actually achieving what we want to achieve doesn't always feel safe to our nervous system, because we're not really used to it. And if our subconscious is holding beliefs which contradict what our conscious mind wants, right, then it kind of creates a block for our manifestation. So, for instance, if my subconscious, or if anyone's subconscious, has this belief that wealthy people are selfish, right? Then at that point, creating any sort of wealth eventually in life could become really difficult because they have grown up hearing this or seeing this in their environment.
Oh, I get that. And there's a saying, Sister Shivani says, Sankalp se siddhi. You know, everything that you think, it manifests in your life.
Right.
So tell us the steps involved into manifesting. So you said two things, subconsciousness, the what you live, and also the nervous system regulation. So
Yes.
let's go break down in a simple steps, step by step. How does one manifest what they want in life?
The first thing I would say in terms of subconscious breakthroughs, right, is to build awareness around what your blocks actually are. What does my subconscious really believe that's actually stopping me from manifesting? And this takes a little bit of practice, but it's not impossible, right? Any practices like journaling, reflection, essentially helps us to get there. We can do a small activity if you
No,
would
no.
be
Before we
willing.
go to the activity, tell me. So, how do I know? How does one come to know whether I have a blockage or not?
Right, which is what I'm saying. That blockage you can really understand through self reflection. You will be able to understand what your blocks are through that self reflection, and typically what those blocks mean or where those blocks lie are in terms of our shadow self. Okay,
Shadow.
shadow, yeah, our shadow self.
Okay.
And I know that sounds like a very scary word, but it really isn't, right? Our shadow self has always been there to protect us. Our shadow is essentially is internal conflict in our unconscious mind, right? Or subconscious mind, you can say. And the shadow essentially is present is a part of us that we have tried to suppress or we are essentially shameful about, and we have tried to really suppress it as much as we can so that that voice becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. But what happens is that when we try to suppress it, it goes down under and governs us from there. So the idea is to actually integrate this shadow rather than suppressing it. So shadow is what I said right now, that wealthy people are selfish, or it can also be something like I don't actually deserve success unless I really work very hard towards it, right? I have to prove to people that I deserve to get this kind of money. I have to prove to people that I deserve to get my dream job. Or it can really be anything that you're trying to manifest. It could be worthiness wounds, but it's a part of you that you keep trying to shut down when it keeps trying to come up and try to communicate with you what it's actually feeling.
So, tell me one thing in terms of you said the first step towards manifestation is self awareness about any blockages that you have, and you suggested you can do journaling.
Yeah,
You
journaling.
can talk to you can reach out to a therapist
Yeah,
to
of course,
to
of
to
course.
to really discover.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm still very very keen that how do I know whether I have a blockage or no? I have a mental block
Right,
that
right.
is stopping me from manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
So how will I ever come to know to even to get the first step of awareness whether I have it or not?
Right. So, as I said, right, there are certain questions that you can either get someone else to help you, navigate, or there are questions that you can honestly just sit down with. You might not be able to get the answer instantly as to what really your blocks are, but one really good question is to figure out what what am I scared of if this good thing happens to me, right? So if you're willing, we can do an activity
All right.
to, maybe figure out, like, in a very short duration of time, what some of your blocks might be. So would you be open to sharing something that maybe you would like to manifest
Yeah,
in
why
your
not?
life?
Let's go ahead.
Sure, yeah. Let it be something that feels a little bit outside your reach, not something you can just buy yourself, into, but something that feels slightly out of reach, but also maybe possible, but you're not sure if it will really work out like that. Just anything that you would like to share.
I'm assuming you're not going to play any trick on me, right?
It's not a trick. Everything's out in the open. We're at a studio. I think we'll be fine.
So one of the things that I really want to manifest right now, that I have this big dream of setting up a healing center in Himachal Pradesh in Palampur, right? So that's a dream. And I truly, truly want to live that life for the next 20, 25 years time.
Right.
I have all the resources to go for it. The timings are right. My energies are right. And I truly want lots and lots, millions of people to come and get benefit out of it,
Right. Right.
right? And my belief is also that life is about blessing. So I feel if I'm able to set up that, people come and heal themselves there, and then in the whole process, they go and help others to succeed and live a better life. I will be a more happy person. That's my dream right now.
If I was to ask you that, I hypothetically have a magic wand and I could make this wish come true right away, is there anything more? Would you make this wish a little richer for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I visualize that people are waiting for the retreats.
Yeah.
They have a waiting period going on.
Yeah.
Some of the finest healers in the world are coming and doing retreats over there, and we
Right.
curate them in an
Right.
experiential manner, which is so easy and easy to implement and live life with that.
Right. Right. Okay. And if I were to tell you that, okay, I have
And
this
it
much.
should not be very expensive retreats. People should be able to afford it.
Okay.
General people can come and do it, not rich people alone.
Right. Right. Of course. So if I were to tell you that, okay, this wish is going to come true for you right at this instant, what bad thing do you think could happen if you actually were able to achieve your goal?
Bad thing can happen. I invest a lot of money to set up this whole physical infrastructure,
Right.
and it doesn't succeed. Then what happens? Is it the real time? I mean, I'm going to be turning 60 in next year and a half.
Right.
So is it a good time to go, or should I live my life, be happy around? I mean, why should I get into that right now?
Right.
That's a doubt that comes to my mind.
That's a doubt.
Yeah.
But say that you invested, the money was, well spent, and it actually succeeded. What bad thing do you think could then happen?
What bad thing can happen? People may not see value in what they are doing. It may not. I'm not able to get the best healers to come and do the retreats over there,
Right.
and
So,
it becomes like a hotel or a resort instead of running a retreat over there.
right, right. Anything else that comes to your mind, maybe in your personal life, or it becomes really successful?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wonder if I'm not there, who'll run it then? Because it's so close to my heart.
Right,
So if God is not kind to allow me to live a long life, then who's going to run it?
right, right. So, these fears that come up or these doubts that come up in your mind when you actually visualize yourself succeeding at what you want, typically show you what your blocks are.
Okay.
Right? So I would encourage you to then sit down and think about this even further, dig even deeper to really figure out that, okay, where is the actual block coming? Is it a fear that I won't be able to be successful actually at running it, that it will be an initial success and I eventually won't be able to keep up
Yeah, to
with the
sustain it.
demands?
Yeah, to sustain it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing, that you won't be able to keep up with the demands of actually sustaining something that will take up so much of your time and energy, especially at the age that you want to do it at. So that is what your block is here.
So how does
And
one overcome the block then?
the way that there are multiple ways to overcome your block, but I think the first thing is to reframe the narrative, right? So one trick or one thing that works really well for me that I've seen with me and with my friends or anyone that I've worked with in this space is saying that, okay, really, does it have to be that hard? So with your example, does it really have to be so hard to sustain it? I have run a team before, I've established a business before. Was I successful? Yes. Do you think I can do it again? Maybe. Maybe, just maybe. The minute we integrate our doubts that are coming up for us, rather than suppressing it, rather than saying, no, don't create doubt. No, don't think about, be positive, be positive. Of course you can do it, right? That's when it becomes tricky for us. But if you're able to integrate it by being kind to ourselves, right? One very important thing is that you cannot shame yourself into evolution. The minute you create this feeling of shame that why am I thinking like this? I shouldn't be thinking like this. You are operating at a very, very low vibrational energy. Right? So being like, okay, maybe I can. Let's think about it. Maybe just maybe I'll be able to take a calculated risk. Maybe just maybe I do have a knack for hiring the right people for the right things always, right? I will be able to give access to all the right people who want to be there, get the best people in the business because I do have access to those kind of resources. So reframing the narrative is the first thing. The next thing that I would say that is a step further to this is where nervous system regulation comes in, right?
So what's that? Nervous
Right.
system
So
regulation looks like a very heavy word.
it really is not. Nervous, so your subconscious, as I said, is essentially the place where you hold your beliefs, your emotions. Nervous system is where you experience felt safety in your body. So the minute that you are able to do certain practices to actually regulate your nervous system, you're able to manifest things and sustain them at a much faster and easier pace, right? So, what does nervous system regulation actually look like? It looks like embodying your desires. A lot of times, because of people's experiences, daily life, chronic stress, people are living in a constant state of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right?
Yeah,
If you're
they're living
living
also with fear, anxiety,
exactly,
uncertainty,
that's what it
right?
is, right?
Yeah.
But how do you, in a space of uncertainty, create that safety inside your body? Right? Part of nervous system regulation means that if you're in a situation which is constantly making you anxious, if there is a way to exit out of there, you exit out of there. But if it says it's just daily life demands, how do you ground yourself? How do you center yourself on a daily basis? Have some daily practices that will ground yourself so that you're able to be in a state which is outside of survival mode, where you're genuinely thriving, genuinely feeling fulfillment on a daily basis.
Sure. So stress is unavoidable because in today's world, stress is given because you are not in a rush.
Right.
You want to accomplish everything in a shorter span of time, and few things are in control, few things are not in control. So to control this whole nervous system regulation, you talked about the word like anchoring, staying fully grounded all the time, thriving in all the stress.
Yeah.
So what are the techniques? What are the resources available to control them?
I know you're already a pro at this, so why don't I actually ask you what are some of the things that you do to anchor yourself on a daily basis?
I thought I'm hosting you on the
I am.
podcast. All right. So one of the things I do certainly, one of the things I certainly do is, first of all, I get up in the Brahma Muhurat, which is Amrit Vela, which happens between 3:45 in the morning till about 5:35 in the morning, because that's the time when the universal energy fields are pure. There's no hindrance. There's no disturbance, and then you can connect with your higher self, which is your consciousness around it. So the first thing I do is to get up in the morning, and I'm like focusing on my breathing exercises, anchor myself, ground myself, and then I do my I do my what I call affirmations. So I do read out my affirmations in
Right.
terms of
Right.
what I want in my life and what I want for the day. So I visualize all the people that I'm going to meet in the morning, during the day, and I send energy and power of love, compassion to them, so that when I meet them, they receive me and I receive them with that. So I do my affirmations, I do my meditation, and then of course I do my, either I'm doing a workout, which is my strength training, and or I'm running, or I'm attending my spiritual classes. So 7 days a week, the first 2 hours is me time.
Right.
That's how I anchor myself.
So the reason that I asked you actually this question was because I'm obviously aware of the spiritual practices that you engage in, and I wanted you to talk about it from your own experience also, because there are a variety of practices which are now available to you, and you can honestly pick and choose with what works best for you, right?
Sure.
I also meditate sometimes. I practice visualization, but something that has really worked well for me has been emotional freedom technique, EFT, or people call it tapping. What tapping or EFT is based in Chinese medicine, where you essentially tap on certain acupressure points on your face and on your body while repeating certain affirmations that would help you stay regulated in that moment and also rewire your brain at the same time. Which is why I said a combination of subconscious breakthrough plus nervous system regulation works really well to manifest something. One of the things that I believe has been my biggest manifestation has been, attending Columbia University, which has been my dream ever since I was 16 years old. And when I was in the process of my applications and things like that, it's when I actually got introduced to this entire process of, subconscious breakthroughs and EFT and things like that. And I started to practice it. When I was doing my own journaling, figuring out, okay, what are really my subconscious blocks? One of the biggest blocks, and this is so common for, a lot of people, are worthiness blocks. Like, do I really deserve to be going to Columbia? There are so many students out there who would be applying. Why do I deserve to be there? Right? But in reality, any desire that you want, whether that's $1 million, whether that's attending your dream school, whether that's manifesting your dream
Your
job,
career.
your career, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's getting that promotion, getting that increment, anything, it only sounds big to us. But from a universe standpoint, right? It's not, for the universe, it's not a big deal. The universe will only give you, or your external reality only mirrors what you're already internally feeling. So if you essentially internally believe that you are worthy of all of your desires and you can contain those desires and become the embodiment of those desires, you can manifest pretty much anything, right, that you want. So EFT, the way that I work with it, right, is figure out what your subconscious blocks are. write it down, figure out your blocks. Once you have figured out your blocks, if your block simply says that, for me, it was worthiness wound, that I maybe don't deserve good things, right? Maybe I don't deserve to live my dreams like that. What would be the opposite of this? What would you rather believe? That no,
I
I
can
deserve
live.
it.
Yeah,
I
I
can,
just.
right? I deserve it. And if you bring in nervous system regulation here and nervous system felt safety, then you would also say that it is safe for me to live my desires. Because if maybe through certain experiences in your life you have not been able to get what you want, that's what your nervous system gets used to. Your subconscious mind is not concerned with your happiness or your fulfillment. It is only concerned with safety, even if that safety is painful. Right. So when you are trying to break through from something, when you are trying to achieve a goal that you've never achieved before, when you are dreaming beyond what has felt possible, you are in the process of changing your identity. And that becomes an identity level threat. Your subconscious wants to hold on to your previous identity because that's what feels safe to it.
So
Right.
it's a comfort zone.
Comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if consciously you are thinking, why would I be scared of changing my identity to becoming a billionaire? Right. But if you've never experienced it before, your nervous system can be scared of it because it's thinking, oh, we don't know how to navigate it. What if I get too much money and I don't know where to invest it? And then suddenly I lose all of that money. There can be an n number of thoughts that could come into your mind, and it's very important at that time to then integrate it. And EFT again works really well for that. So coming back to the steps: subconscious breakthrough through building awareness, figuring out, if this is what I believe, what would I rather believe, and then using those affirmations of what would you rather believe for me to do emotional freedom technique tapping, where I'm tapping on parts of my face, essentially using affirmations that contradict my belief. And that is not only regulating my nervous system while I'm tapping, but it is also rewiring my brain at that very moment of when the trigger has come up. So EFT can be practiced in so many ways. Sometimes I like to do like 2-hour EFT sessions. Sometimes if I'm triggered in a moment, this is something new that I've learned. If a trigger comes into my environment and if I'm in a space where I can take 5 minutes out, quickly be like, okay, what is this situation in my external reality making me feel? If someone has said something to me, is it making me feel unworthy? Is it making me feel like people don't like me? Then I'm instantly thinking, okay, what would I rather believe? That I always attract the right community. I always have the right people around me, depending on whatever I'm feeling. And then I tap on that. 5 minutes, I'm regulated and I have rewired my nervous system all in an instant.
Yeah. So in many ways, what you're saying is that because every thought has energy, every thought has a vibration, and the vibration that goes in the energy field around us is what comes back as a theory of resonance. In the physics or in the quantum science, they say what goes around comes around, right? So what you're saying is you have to unblock yourself. If you're feeling fearful, then the opposite of fearfulness is fearless. And then you say, I'm a fearless soul. Yeah. If you're fearful that people will accept me in the meeting or not, then you can say, look, I'm going to the meeting and everybody will accept me the way I am, and they will accept me the way I am. It's the way you create an affirmation.
That is one way to look at it. If you would go at it at a deeper level, I would say that, so see, both fear and faith require you to believe in something that you cannot see.
Okay, talk more about
Right.
it.
So when you are going in, whether it's day to day, you might be going into a meeting, you might be wanting to, say, manifest your next job, and it might feel very scary to you that how am I going to get this, change my identity to an extent where my entire external reality looks completely different. And it's very scary. But at the same time, you have to understand that you always have your higher self present with you in every moment. You can always reach out or always connect with her or him, or always connect with your higher self
Inside you.
because you always have them present with you, guiding you for what is required. So you can either choose to move with fear or either choose to move with faith. And at the same time, I would say, for your example of going into a meeting, whether people will accept me or not, you have one way to look at it is that everyone will accept me. But is that the reality? Can everyone all the time actually accept you? Do you always accept everyone all
No,
the time?
no,
Absolutely not. The idea is that the right people, I will show up as my authentic self. I will show up as my best self. I will show up with a big heart, with a kind heart, with bringing in all the experiences that I have, and the right people will accept me for that. And I do not need every single person to accept me either to be able to be regulated.
So what you're saying is that just bring the higher self in you,
Yes.
bring all the higher qualities of abundance, acceptance,
Yes.
cooperation,
Yes.
peace, loving,
Right.
that you fill yourself,
Right.
because what you radiate will come back.
100%.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
you mean to
Yes.
say.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is, right? Because if you are also trying to say manifest something or trying to have a certain experience, you don't have to wait for every for your reality to give you that experience. The fact is, you can create an experience in your heart and in your mind at any point. Those feelings are always accessible to you. If you want to experience success, right? Say someone wants to experience fame or a lot of money. What does that bring to you? What emotions does that bring up for you, right? A lot of popularity, maybe, or doing well at work or a sense of achievement could doing well at work could maybe you would want to feel a sense of achievement, right? Maybe it would make you feel good about yourself. But in reality, you can always choose to feel good about yourself regardless. Create that experience in your subconscious. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between an event that has actually happened versus an emotion that you are creating in yourself right now. For it, that memory is the same. So you can actually create those positive experiences for yourself through visualizations, through self-talk, through EFT. And then in turn, because internally you are operating at such a high vibration that your external reality ends up looking like that.
Yeah, and that's the reason some of us we learn this concept called self-love, right?
Yeah.
That you love yourself first. But also, I've seen some videos on by Dr. Sara on the neuroplasticity, and what you're
Yeah.
talking is
Yeah.
that if you have an affirmation and you do that over and over again and again for 30 minutes every day
Yeah.
for 30 days,
Yeah.
the neurocircuits of brain changes. Would like to talk about that?
100%. So there are a lot of people who are now, talking about this. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Abraham Hicks are, I think, two really insightful people that their work I really follow as much as I can. And they have spoken a lot about neuroplasticity. They've done experiments to see how neurons actually create new pathways in your brain in real time, right? And how does that happen? Through various exercises that you do. So I guess the one part of it is that, okay, your subconscious is formed before the age of 7, when you didn't really have a lot of control and like the reality that you were born into, what was happening around you, or as you grew up as well. But the good news is that neuroplasticity exists, which essentially means that you can always rewire your nervous system. Neurons that fire together wire together. That's what the phrase is called. So if you are creating those affirmations, and like you said, 30 minutes for 30 days, honestly, I am different people have different timelines for it. I wouldn't go by a specific timeline. I would say go by what feels good to you. Have a daily consistent practice,
Sure.
but combine it with subconscious breakthroughs, right? Because if you just keep saying affirmations like, okay, I am going to make, say someone wants a promotion at work, right? And they're like, I'm going to get the promotion at work, I'm going to get the promotion at work, and they keep saying the affirmation without actually thinking, okay, how does the promotion actually feel in my body? Do I feel safe taking on that level of responsibility? People have a fear of being seen. Will I be seen too much? Am I going to be in a leadership position now? Do I feel safe in my body to experience that reality? So I would say combine all of it, right? Affirmations are a great technique to actually rewire your nervous system, but done with subconscious breakthroughs is when you actually are able to get the result.
Correct. And many times people do all these things. I know many people who get up early morning, they do affirmation, they do meditation. They also go to they also go to religious places to pray, but they are not able to get what they're not able to manifest what they want. They don't get breakthroughs.
Right.
Anything that you like to suggest? What can be done in those situations?
Yeah, definitely. I think in situations like that, and I actually was in that space for a significant amount of time. I was trying to switch jobs and trying to be in a space where I wanted to really be working with an organization or in a role that I wanted, and I wasn't able to break through around that. And I think one thing that I really figured out at that time was, for me, for some time, I realized that I was able to attract my reality very quickly. That if I wanted something, I would get parts of that reality. So, for example, I would be visualizing that if I get this dream job of mine, what kind of conversations would I be having? What kind of, where would my office be? Or, things like that. And I would actually land in those positions. I would actually have those conversations with someone out of the blue, but I wasn't getting the job. So I was seeing aspects of a manifestation coming in, but for some reason, what I actually wanted was I was not able to sustain it. And that happens because people sometimes don't realize that we essentially are a container of our desires. So till the time we become that vessel where we can contain our desires, we end up sabotaging our own efforts if it doesn't feel safe to us. Right? So this is where the concept of self-sabotage comes in a lot. That you might manifest something that exactly what you want, but you might suddenly lose it. Now that could happen for two reasons. Maybe at one point that thing wasn't actually good for you and it's saving you from something. But if a pattern is repeating in your life over and over again, where you realize that, okay, either you're just not able to manifest or you're able to manifest something close enough, but not exactly that, that time you can look at yourself and be like, am I the embodiment of my desires? Am I able to continue to feel the emotion that I would feel once I get my desire for a prolonged period of time? Am I able to detach from the outcome? Detaching from the outcome doesn't mean that you stop wanting things or you pretend to be nonchalant. Absolutely not. You continue working for what you want, but without thinking that I will only feel, say, for instance, I will only feel worthy once I get this. No, I'm already worthy, right? I'm already connected to the universe. I'm already connected to my higher self. I am the embodiment of worthiness. I'm the embodiment of love. I am the embodiment of success. And feel that feeling for a longer period of time, which is what affirmations help with, visualizations help with. And then you will definitely see, or at least I have seen success of being able to attract and sustain my desires.
So I just want, before we close this, I just want to elaborate a little bit more on the self-sabotage that you talked about. It. What does it mean? I mean, so self-defeating thoughts.
It is self-defeating thoughts, or really, going back to your shadow. If you have not integrated your shadow, if you have not done that work, where your internal conflict in your subconscious is very high, where you are okay. Say you're at a job and now you're earning a lot of money. Say you have a salary that you've never made before. You're able to really your purchasing power has suddenly increased. But now you have the thought in your mind where you're thinking that rich people or wealthy people are selfish, right? You're not able to look at yourself in the mirror. Then you're thinking that something is wrong with you. Why are you making that kind of money, right? So that is what self-sabotage is. Then you will end up sabotaging it either, subconsciously, that you might lose that job, or you might not be able to perform well. You might procrastinate. In some shape or form you might procrastinate, but yes, they do show up in the form of our very deep thoughts, and then in form of our behavior that we also sometimes don't
So what I'm
understand.
supposed to do to avoid that?
Integration, as I said.
Integration.
Yeah.
Integration of
Integration of your shadow.
your
right?
shadow means the way it has already happened to me. You start visualizing that.
Yes, but also if something is coming up for you, if you're doing the subconscious work, you're doing the breakthroughs, and something like, say, a thought is coming up for you, which can be, I too much responsibility is difficult to handle. Say that is like just a part of your shadow. Maybe you were very overwhelmed, when you were a kid, or just it can happen because of any reason. Maybe you saw your parents being very overwhelmed because of responsibility, and then them being very emotionally dysregulated, for instance. Then you can honestly talk to that part of yourself. Right? Be like, okay, why is this coming up for me? Why do I feel like it'll really, what bad thing could happen? Okay, I could become selfish. What will happen if I become selfish? I could lose my friends. No one would want to be friends with me then, right? I
So
will lose my
then you
community.
shift the energy.
Then you shift the energy, but through self-talk with a lot of kindness. This is where self-love also comes in.
So compassion, love,
Compassion to yourself.
generosity.
Yes. Because if you feel at a deeper level shame because of your circumstances, whether good or bad, shame, guilt are feelings that have the lowest level of frequency. Regret, right? Resentment towards other people, which is why the concept of forgiveness becomes very important. Forgiveness to the people around you, forgiveness for yourself, not even if no one is seeking your forgiveness, right? So you can release those feelings of resentment.
So is it fair to say, so if you have to manifest and you have to integrate your nervous system with you,
shadow,
yeah, then the first thing you have to do is to operate or vibrate at a higher frequency, which would be generosity, love, peace, compassion.
The first thing that you need to do is, once you figure out what your shadow is, to talk to it and to be kind to yourself, to practice self-love, to practice self-compassion, and not shame yourself, not to suppress it. That is very important. Not to be like, I don't think about this, be positive. That doesn't work, right? That's a band-aid. But to be able to elevate yourself to the frequency of generosity and abundance and love, you first need to be kind to yourself and talk to yourself in a way that, like you love yourself. That would be the first
believe in
step.
yourself. We say, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in your hard work. Believe in your God.
Right.
Believe in your destiny.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's a saying in Guru Granth Sahib, Guru Nanak Ji say, जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने से सोई सोई पावे. So make God your best friend, right? So because He's your higher self in you.
Sure.
And when you connect with your higher self and you talk to Him, then everything manifests for you because then you're talking to your higher self.
You're talking to your higher. People have different words, whatever resonates. Universe, higher self, God, whatever feels closest to your heart. In reality, you have to understand that we are all connected to the universe. If the universe is like an ocean, if you take a glass of water from the ocean, the water in the glass still remains the water from the ocean,
Yeah,
right?
we are all universally
So
connected.
we're
Every
all
single part,
universally connected. Yeah, we're all universally connected. So as long as we stay connected to our higher self, speak kindly to ourselves, and integrate rather than suppress.
So be in harmony with your environment.
Yes.
Yeah, be in harmony with your nature. Be in harmony with everything around you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the way. Okay, we close this. Before that, let's summarize this step by step. Step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 steps.
Step number 1, figure out what your dreams are. What is it that you do want to manifest? Once that's manifested, try to do subconscious breakthroughs to understand what may be blocking you from getting what you want. Right? If your desire is to have a leadership responsibility, or your desire is to get an increment, for instance, right? Then where could the fear be coming in? Do you have a fear of success? Right? This question works really well. What bad thing could happen if I get what I want? Dig deeper into that. Once you're done with your subconscious breakthroughs, write down what your blocks are, and then on the next side, write down what would I rather believe. What would I rather believe should contradict exactly what your blocks are in your language. You can, even use ChatGPT for this. It's really helpful sometimes to, craft affirmations also. But make sure that they're not very generic. The more specific they will be, the better the more effective I would say they would be. And then go towards nervous system regulation. So nervous system regulation can be done through visualizations, through affirmations, through EFT, a lot of somatic mind body work, meditation. Yeah, exactly. Any kind of mind body work which you are doing, where you are connecting your mind and body together, and regulating yourself. That's how you would do it. But remember to just be kind to yourself. That's what I always keep telling myself and my friends, that you can't shame yourself into evolution.
Sure. And I think the last mother of all question. I know you've been my daughter, so I know that you've been practicing spirituality for long. How spirituality has helped you in life?
Spirituality has, from a very young age, I've been very fortunate, through, of course, our family, to be very connected to spirituality. But as I have grown up, I have realized that spirituality is nothing but being connected to your own self, connected to your own higher self. And it has always given me faith. It has, even in my darkest times, even in the most difficult circumstances, I have never been without hope. I've always remained hopeful, and that is how spirituality has helped me, because I always know that no matter how cold the winter may be, winter always turns to spring.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Brinda. So that's what this podcast was all about. There's a lot of books, a lot of videos available. How do you manifest everything around it? The idea today on this podcast was to say, if you believe that if you believe you're born with a destiny, or you believe that destiny can be created, I'm in a camp that destiny can be created and you can manifest every single thing. So thank you so much one more time to listening to us. Thank you, Brinda,
Thank you for
being
having me.
here. I'm so proud of you and love you a lot.